It's Wednesday night and you're bored as shit. You've got nothing better to do, and you love your rugby league. So it's time to get online for League of Inches.
Singing aye, yippee, yippee, aye. Singing aye. Oh, hang on. We're not singing that tonight. Up the mighty fucking Blues. There we go. Welcome to the podcast. As you can tell, it's going to be a bit of a loose one, celebrating the Blues victory in State of Origin 2024. Coming back from 1-0 in the series to then level up in Melbourne, win it at Suncorp. What a feeling, lifting up that trophy in front of those Queenslanders is as good as it gets. Jez, throw straight to you. The moment of the match was Bradman Best running over his clubmate, our teammate, and Ponga as well. So you would have been watching that with, I don't know, it looks like you might have been pulling your hair out.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. There was 3 Knights involved in that play, and it was just the bittersweet moment of that was when we ran away with it. It was great. But Bradman Best is putting it all on the line. I thought Gagai was outplayed, to say the least. He tried really hard in defence, but in attack he had nothing. He kept running into brick walls. So 1 in a row, baby. We're back.
Yeah, I think you got a point there, because I think in the first half as well, Bradman Best dropped 1 or 2, and that could have led to tries as well. So I know that it was very tight for the whole first 65 minutes of that game. But if Best held onto the pill a couple of times in that first half, it could have been a bit easier viewing, I guess, for us New South Wales supporters. And yeah, I think he gave Gagai a bit of a bath. Adam, thoughts on the game? Your initial thoughts?
I'm glad that he held that ball, because he dropped too early on. Best. I'm fucking tired.
Yeah,
this is late, by the way. I'm ready for bed.
It's not early. Woo!
I don't even know if I'm going to speak any English here. I'm filthy, by the way. Great game of footy. Great game of rugby league. Like the players handled himself, as was touched on in our group chat. Klein tried to say as much as he could. He had to make some calls, obviously. I know obviously going to talk about that fight and that send-off / sin bin probably as well. But
No, I've got a possible penalty try. Can you just watch everything? I've just got a possible penalty try.
If he could have a grandstand moment, he would have had it, wouldn't he? Yeah. Highlight of the night was a New South Wales chant going around with 10 minutes ago, 8 minutes ago around Suncorp. Always great. And at the end of the game as well. Low light of the night was the fact that I don't get like $440 off sports bet that I'm rightfully owed. So fuck you, whoever made that decision. That's all.
And
Mika,
Mick Moses might be out for a while.
Yeah, his season's over.
His season's
By the
done.
looks of it,
It's torn bicep.
that's a ruptured bicep for sure. So that's
6
done
months.
and dusted.
See you in February.
Sums up the
Fetch that
season,
pre-season.
Parramatta. We're not here to talk about Parramatta. We're here to talk about the Blues, and we did it. We got the winner. Mika, come in. I know you've been on the Coke and raspberry rums or something?
Raspberry Coke and Fiji Pirate Rum. It is
Oh,
raspberry
look,
Coke.
Hang on.
Absolute game changer.
Didn't League of Inches put you on a booze ban for bringing the podcast into distribute or whatever it is after the last episode over in Fiji?
No, highest rating podcast we've had.
I was going to say 2 in a row now for you being drunk on air. So how good's this?
I'm on annual leave. I've had a
Can
big
you
4 months of work.
Can we get a jump in a pool from you tonight to end the podcast, or
No,
pool?
all I got near me is a dodgy Greta Creek, and I ain't jumping in that. I'll get AIDS or something. Well, the AIDS went out of fashion in the 80s, so
doesn't exist anymore apparently.
No.
Look, your boys have touched on it. We'll go straight into, I guess, the biff, if you want to call it that. I don't know what it was, but I guess it's a modern day biff. The push and shove went onto the bench. Murray was pretty lucky not to be sent off, if we're being honest. He ran over from on the bench, which was a bit, how you going? But I noticed a few of the Queensland bench players, I know it did go on to the Queensland bench, but they did get involved more than what they probably should have by just standing there as bystanders. So, Jez, what do you think of the officiating in terms of that sort of moment? I mean, it was brewing. We all heard about it in the lead up. It seemed like something was going to explode, and it certainly did.
Well, I was worried because in the game before, someone got sent to the bin for rubbing the head too hard. So I was really worried when nearly every single player was involved in this melee. I thought there's going to be 3 or 4 people sent to the bin here. For him not to get sent off rushing in from the bench, that's a pretty bad look. I know it spilled onto the Queensland team. So there's, you can back yourself up there, but sprinting from your bench to go and get involved, I thought that probably could have, and again, going on what happened last game, I thought that might have been a send-off. But no way were they going to let that happen in a decider. I thought the officiating wasn't too bad until he started to insert himself towards the end there. But he did let a lot of it go. And he even said that when he was talking to the captain. He's like, I've let a lot of stuff go here. Now you need to be better. I was like, okay, sweet, let's go.
Yeah, it was, as you said, you brought up the penalty try at the end. I just couldn't, I actually burst out laughing when he said that. I just couldn't believe what the hell. Klein wanted his moment. We've said it all serious. He keeps wanting these moments for himself on the spotlight, and I feel like that was one. Adam, you've always been a huge Ashley Klein fan. What did you make of the officiating, I guess, of that incident as well?
I was trying to share something, but it was too fucking complicated for me. Just a photo of the benches, and there's
get it up.
2 players.
It's in the group chat.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was trying to. That's what I was trying to.
I
get
normally
it up,
would, but I'm on holidays on dial-up out in the sticks,
Yeah,
so
I know,
it's going to
I
be having
know.
someone else that has to produce that one.
Can you explain this
think-
quickly, Adam, just for those that don't understand how Murray got binned?
Yeah, so he got binned because he obviously ran off the bench, which is a send-off offence if you're a player that's not on the field that runs involved. But if it happened on halfway and he ran in, happy for it to be a send-off. But the fact that it happened in front of the Queensland bench, there was already Queensland players involved. Matt Burton, what the fuck was he doing on the Queensland bench, Matt? I don't know if anyone realised that, but Matt Burton was one of the first people involved in it.
He was there in the
What
jacket.
he was
He
doing
was
down there.
incognito. Just
18th
ready.
man.
He was like,
was
hey, guys, you need an 18th man next year for Queensland. I'm keen. But, yeah, that's great. Fucking yeah. There's already
can't see that.
But Kalen Ponga's hiding out the back. I can only assume to wait and see if Connor Watson ran in from the bench to see what they actually could get up to, and everyone wasn't watching. But there's 2 other Queensland players involved in that as well, in the push and shove, Lindsay Collins and Harry Grant. Now, obviously, the force that Murray comes in with comes in a lot more force. But it was like fucking about 9-on-2 at that stage when he runs in. And one of those people was Matt Burton, who wasn't sure he was even playing for. So he's got to run in. Like, it happened a long way away from the rest of the New South Wales players. Like, what are you going to do? Let 9 blokes absolutely pummel 1 bloke? Like, honestly, like, I'm not going to say I was going to say. I'm just going to leave that. So, yeah, I'm glad he ran in. I guess the biggest thing of that is Cherry Evans started. He got penalised for it. Like, he literally said the penalty's going against you, Cherry Evans, for going on with it. He threw an open hand push, which is a lot worse than a head rub. And then, obviously, Luai responded there. I don't know how both them didn't go for the bin. And to penalise Murray as being the 9th man in, there was 8 other blokes in Queensland as well that come involved. There could have been 10 people in the bin. It should have been play on. Just let it play on.
Jez doing his
here we
thing.
go.
Look at him go.
There we go.
If I drop out, it's because it's taking up all my bandwidth.
So,
we'll be quick with it.
as you can see, if you look to, you've got Lindsay Collins and Harry Grant both there. Now, I know they're not doing too much, but they're still involved in the melee. And you'd have to think that some part of the contact, their body comes in touch with one of the New South Wales players during that. At this stage, Murray isn't there. And as you can see, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8-on-2. So I'm all for Murray running in.
Yep. No, I agree. I'm all for it
Is
as
it
well.
Brian To'o that's on the ground?
Nah, toes to the
No, Brian
left.
To'o, that's
To'o's on
Luai.
the left.
Jerome
Oh,
Luai.
that's right. Luai's on the ground. Yep.
Yeah.
And
It's the Mount
We'll get
Druitt-
to it a
it's the
bit
Mount
later,
Druitt
but-
boys versus Queensland.
They took him on.
They took
Where's
him
your
on.
Queensland spirit now?
Just needed their bum
Mika,
bags and they'll complete the role.
Yes,
I
John.
want to quickly wrap the game because I thought that was one of the best State of Origin games I've ever seen. That first half was, I know it was 2-0. It looked like it was going to go 0-0. And generally, you'd look at that and go, "What a boring game." Probably the best half of State of Origin football I've ever seen. It was sensational. So credit to both teams who really showed up. And I think we sort of hinted to this in the Origin preview show where a few of us boys said that it was very quiet the lead up to this game. So it felt like both teams were really just bunkering down and ready to just explode. And that's sort of what happened. And it just did not stop. It was such a great game to watch. I know we're happy New South Wales have come out on top, which makes it better. But geez, the game was good.
Yeah, I'd go further than saying it's the best Origin. Best game you said. Best Origin you've seen. I reckon that's one of the best games of rugby league I've seen. Like in general, like that was just phenomenal. I don't think I've seen two teams belt each other for a whole half of football like they did. I think it was Freddie said it about 20 minutes in. He said usually the whole softening up period lasts about 10 minutes. It just kept going. Joey, yeah. Freddie, one of them. Yeah, it just kept going. Like they just didn't stop. I think a lot of credit needs to go to Queensland for their defense in the first half. I think there was a stat that come up that said it was play the balls in the red zone, and I think it was just after half time, but it was 22-3 to New South Wales. They were easily winning the field possession and getting in the half, and some of those attacking moves were really, really good. It's just Queensland kept turning up like they do. So they deserve a lot of credit for that because it could have been a completely different story at half time again, but phenomenal game of footy. The one thing I did take out of it was my youngest daughter, she's just sort of really got into footy and Origin a little bit this year. And I was talking up Origin heaps. And game 1 was a letdown, obviously. And then game 2 wasn't really an Origin game. She sat here tonight on the edge of a seat, like almost like she got it. And I was like, that's what I've been talking about, Asher. So it was the cliche Origin field game, and I had a few moments where I looked over at her and she looked at me, and like Kira looked at me, like rolling her eyes, going, "Look what you've fucking done now." So yeah, it was good.
I'll add to that. Becky told me she was going to bed. There's no way she made the other game. She actually sat there and watched the whole game. I think she may have feared if she went to bed, if Moses did another Zach Lomax kick across the field and he took it, what was going to happen to her. But
you should have seen what happened to Kira when Moses went under the post. Oh, she actually asked me if I was all right afterward. Just like me and Kalen started yelling when he come off his left foot, because as soon as he come off his left foot, I was like, fuck, he's in. I dove across the lounge. I was screaming. I was grabbing Kira and shaking her. And she was just looking at me like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, are you all right? Are you about to have a breakdown? Yeah.
I'm going to report the same thing. Bridget, she normally goes to bed, and she sat in the chair and actually put her Kindle down for once because she quite enjoyed me, as she said, dance around the lounge room like a goose. That's Origin, baby. That's Origin.
It was a great feeling, and I got so into it. I didn't know, like at the start of this series, it just felt a bit different, and there's always question marks about Madge, but I want to quickly give Madge a rap here and spend a little bit of time on him because I think he's done sensational. Each game so far, the side for mine has gotten better as well. Think about like the game he could have easily kept the 17 the same, and he chose to put Mitch Barnett in, who I thought was huge tonight and did a really, really good job. And he could have easily let Ola stay on the bench and do his 10-minute cameo, and it worked in game 2, so why change it? But he's continually made changes and got this team better, which he does deserve credit for.
Did you listen to the podcast? Because I'm pretty sure I suggested that one last time after joking around about bringing Sean Laney, and I'm pretty sure I said Barnett was a good option to bring in because he can play front row and second row. And look, he found himself in the second row pretty early on, didn't he? So great call having him there.
He has Origin steel. The way he was like, was it Collins? He sent someone flying back on a hit up. Like Queensland were belting him, and he put the ball under his arm and he knocked him flat.
His greatest hits. How's it taken 160 games to see that? 160 games to see Mitch Barnett Origin mode.
Mate, he was phenomenal. Back on Michael's stat, like in that first 20 minutes of that game, I said to Bridget, like, Queensland have not got out of their half. I think they made 20 meters every time they had the ball, and that was a complete set of 6. They kick it down the field, and we were starting our sets off halfway. So their defense and the way that they read our attacking plays was really great, and that's what made this game such a great game of footy was the defense. There was a couple of errors in there as well, but far out, they belted each other all game, and it was really cool to watch.
Yeah, I reckon with that as well, credit to Queensland. I know we're going to rate New South Wales a lot, but credit to them in that first half, because I think any other team in any other rugby league game probably would have been up by 2 or 3 tries at least if they were the Blues. But the Maroons continually turned up. The field possession and stuff was crazy. I just felt like we were always smashing them meters wise and the like, and it was just good to see the boys put that up. But then the Queenslanders not fold either. We know what they're like at Suncorp, and they did it again. And at halftime, I had thoughts about going. They're going to do this again, aren't they? They're going to do one of these Queensland sort of performances that they do, and luckily,
we've lost you, Joel.
Mika,
I think
what do you got?
I think it's due to the flooding in Queensland. They might have taken out your
All the
internet up
tears.
there. All the tears up there,
Just-
swiping
A
you
lot
out.
of
But
tears.
Just quickly on Madge, I think something you won't get credit for. Well, he probably will. The amount that he got under Slater's skin. He rattled Slater. And I think one of Slater's best assets is how he speaks and how he handles the media and whatnot. But I think this series, he really did a job on Slater. So he did a Reed Marnie on him.
I actually want to raise that as a talking point quickly with Billy Slater, because we mentioned it on the preview on the Monday about this game was huge for his coaching career so far and how it's been, because he sort of had it go his way so far, and this is the first series he's really been pushed and questioned, and in a way, if you're going to be honest, he's failed, and it's been the first failure Billy Slater has actually done as a coach, which we're not used to seeing at all. Have I? Yeah, he is a Queenslander still, so that's all that really matters,
Yes.
I guess. But Madge clearly won this via knockout if we're talking about the coaches. And I know there was a lot of raps in Billy before this series started, but if you have the choice right now between Madge or Billy Slater and you're starting a new team, who are you going to go for, Jez?
I'm still going to have Billy Slater, I think. I just like the way he operates. Like, I know he lost this series and Madge did get under his skin. And, you know, if Billy had his time again, he would probably handle that press conference a little bit better, because that kind of set the tone. Yes, we are Queenslanders. Well, what does that mean? I still think from a coaching perspective, I'd probably still have Billy Slater running my side. I like him as a human being.
Just quickly on you, because I know Pong is your probably your favorite player at the moment for the Knights, and rightly so. But there was a lot of question marks around this, because if it paid off, it would have been a masterstroke. I don't think it did pay off. I think New South Wales, when he came on, funnily enough, just started to destroy the middle even more and got a bit more momentum. He was a little bit dangerous in patches, but for mine in game 2, Queensland got absolutely bullied. Everyone kept talking about it, and it's just a matter of what actually happened at game 2. And I don't think they really fix that up at all. Are you questioning that Ponga selection still? I think it probably, looking back on it, a big bopper forward was needed.
Yeah, probably a forward. But then at the same time, I was still, when they kept showing him, like, they had Ponga cam. You know how you could press the red button on the Foxtel and you got Ponga cam? When we saw him warming up, I said to my wife, I was like, as a Knights fan, I'm really worried because I don't want him to get injured. But as a Blues fan, I'm even more worried because I know what he's like around a tired defence or in a tired ruck. They attempted to go down that left-hand side and stack it a few times, and it didn't really work. But then once they went away from that, he was deemed redundant. Like, they went away from the one play that was going to get Ponga involved. And as soon as they did that, then there was no point in him being on the field.
I think
Adam, Mika.
No. Oh, you go. Sorry.
No, go.
So I think Adam in our group chat called it really well. So I was actually getting worried about Ponga coming on at that point in time because the game was in such limbo. And then Adam said, there is no way Ponga can defend in the front line in this type of game. And that's pretty much what happened. Like, Ponga got on the field. They went left 2 or 3 times. New South Wales shut it down. And that was it. Ponga was not really in the game. And then New South Wales started running at him. So, yeah, I think if the game had sort of evolved differently, he probably would have had a different role. That probably sounds like a dumb thing to say. But, yeah, Adam was right. There was no way he could defend in the front line in that game. He's never been a player that can defend in the front line of footy. So, yeah, that was my
Did you have
always
Madge
right,
or
but-
Billy, Mika? You're choosing.
Well, considering I just went through a club vying for a coach and they were both at one stage options, I would still have Billy, even after that. I think experience is one thing, and I think that's where Madge got him tonight and win the series. But
you're doing this. Shh, shut the fuck up.
Podcast, Adam. That's what he's supposed to do. Just because you're there,
that's what he got.
Power. Go have a Red Bull.
That's what he got. That's what he got me for last week. Remember that exact comment.
There's no time limit on the answers. It's not dumps with Sid. I can talk as long as I fucking want. He got him. Madge got him on experience. So over to you, Adam.
Oh, thank you. Just on the Ponga one, as soon as Ponga come on, the front rowers of Queensland and the middles of Queensland went having to protect him. It was pretty genius by Madge at that exact time to bring on Connor Watson, because as soon as they went to overprotect him, he started jumping around there. It created all the space, and that's what created space on the left-hand side as well. So I get why they had Ponga there. They wanted impact, but they didn't have a clear plan for him. The plan was they said they'd bring Ponga on towards the back end of the game and see what he could do, and that was give him the ball without having a clear role. Now, Reece Walsh must have been carrying about 4 injuries.
That's quite the opposite of what you've been saying for the last 6 months. You've been telling us that Connor Watson would run towards Ponga. Now you're saying he would run away from him.
Yeah,
don't say anything, please.
Come on,
just move on.
It's actually bad. Jeremy mentioned it before, but Ponga Cam wasn't available at halftime, so I can only assume what was happening. So back to what I was saying, Reece Walsh, either he's been to the Mike Acevo School of Acting, and when things are getting too tough, fakes too many injuries. But if Walsh generally was carrying a shoulder injury, a leg injury, a hip injury, whatever the fuck else he was carrying, why didn't they just take him off and bring Ponga on? That would have been a much smarter option, because if he's carrying even a little niggling injury, then obviously a fully fit Ponga is going to have more of an impact on the game, because I thought Walsh is having a terrible season, to be honest. I don't think he's really done much at all. I think they've exposed him. He's skipping around too much and trying to get his hand on the balls too much. Hang on, hand on the ball. Sorry, that's Connor Watson and Callum Ponga.
Stop it, please. Stop
it. Mate, it's fucking 10:49. I can say what I want.
It's recorded.
Yeah, and as Dane said,
allegedly.
Yeah,
yes,
allegedly. Yeah.
Anyway. You touch up a good point. I want to talk about that. I want to say who's been a letdown of the series. I was actually going to say Reece Walsh, because there's been a lot of talk about him. I know the game one he was taken off, all the like, but the last 2 games, he just hasn't been there. I know he's had a couple of little moments here and there, but I know credit to the New South Wales defense, who I thought was sensational, but there was a lot of talk at the start of this series how he wanted to own this series, and it was all he wanted to be the big guy for Queensland this year and really step up and be Billy Slater clone and that. But I didn't see it.
They're still Queenslanders, you know.
He's still a Queenslander. I didn't see it.
Have we asked?
So,
I reckon the biggest letdown of the season was Joseph Swalihi, myself. But you give it to Reece Walsh, and I don't think Swalihi really did much.
You beat me to it. I was going to say Nico Hines.
Yeah.
Poor Nico.
Jake Trbojevic. I know Jake Trbojevich's first 20 minutes was huge tonight, but once again, when he played 23 minutes, it's got to be the weirdest thing ever. If Jake Trbojevic is captain of New South Wales next year and playing Origin, I'll be very surprised if Madge still there. There's got to be more to that. It's they know Jake's such a top bloke and such a nice guy. They didn't want to pull the pin on him after game one and keep him his Origin, keep him his captaincy, because watching the game, Yo was the captain. He spent more time.
Well, he was on the field longer.
Yeah, did all the referees talking. That's just a fucking strange. That's probably the weirdest thing I've ever seen besides Kurt Gidley captaining from the bench.
Yeah, same areas. I think I agree with the Reece Walsh comments in terms of being a bit of a letdown in Origin this year, but I'd also like to say Cotter. He had a far bigger impact last year, and I just think he tried to bring the aggression, but then just couldn't back it up when he had the ball. He wasn't really making many meters or any sort of line break. So I think him and Collins were relatively quiet this series compared to last year.
Yeah.
Here's an interesting
Nico, you got
talking
one?
point for you. You mentioned Cotter before we go to that bloke down the bottom. The modern day front row is changing in the NRL. They're obviously going to small, more mobile front rowers, who can get through a lot more work, a lot more minutes and stuff. Do you think it's the complete opposite in Origin? Because we've seen your Jake Tavorovic's, your Ruben Cotters have a lot less impact on the game in Origin as they would at NRL level. And yet big bodies like Haas and Spencer Lanu, even Lindsay Collins to that extent, have done so much more. I reckon, I do look like I have a black eye. So I'll ask Michael that question. You answer that one. Do you reckon that's a valid point? Is Origin, the front row position in Origin, different? Yeah, I know.
Is Chris Nice like? Is he know the history there or what? That's
No,
a
he
huge
doesn't.
call.
Oh, maybe. No, I don't know.
Moving on.
Domestic violence is never okay. Look, it's funny you talk about Jake. He's a big motor and I always tightens up around the ruck. But I don't think he's ever been a player that's bent the line. So I find it odd that you would talk about him being the player that you're basing like Origin footy on compared to NRL. I just think when you're talking about Walsh and stuff and how he's been a bit of a letdown, I don't think he really got a chance to get in the game 2 or 3. It was a really forward-dominated battle for most of it, and then New South Wales finally got on the top in game 3. Game 2 was all New South Wales, so he was never in the game. So I don't know. I don't think Walsh was really a letdown. I just think his style of play didn't get a chance. For me, the letdown, Jez made a really, really good point on Cotter. He was very big last year, and he tried. I think the epitome of that in a picture of what Jez said is when Crichton just palmed his face off. So every time Cotter had to back it up, he couldn't, right? Like, he didn't bend the line. He didn't make any big hits this year. Like, he's still that mobile, aggressive forward, but he was just outdone. So him and Collinson, because I rate them both highly as players. I thought Collinson, yeah.
Is my microphone not muted? Whoops.
I know. You know what? Mika, start us off your player of the series. I think that might be easier for you. Yeah.
Hang on. Before he does that, I want to ask a question because you bagged out the worst player. Queensland obviously didn't win the series. Can you give me a Queensland player of the series? You've just bagged out half their team. I think there's actually a clear
bagged out
for
two
Queensland.
players. Bagged out two players.
Who do you reckon the Queen? I want everyone to give me their Queensland player of the series because obviously we're going to give New South Wales personal player of the
Cherry
series.
Evans, very consistent.
Yeah, Cherry Evans.
Good kicking game. Good options in attack. Defended well.
Tried his ass off.
I actually thought Tom Dearden was the better half for Queensland the whole series. I was going to give it to Tom Dearden.
I was going to bring that up when we were talking about Reece Walsh and line breaks. Tom Dearden had more line breaks.
He also was a lot more aggressive in defence.
Yeah,
he was really predictable for the last.
Is he a
half
redhead?
Of that game, though.
You'd class him as a redhead, right?
Like he made that one dummy and run, and then they just jammed him.
Probably blonde.
I thought Dearden was great. I thought Dearden actually played a better series, as I said, than DC. I don't think DC, besides kicking, DC didn't do much. He ran sideways a lot, which best exposed. He got involved in a lot of niggle that he usually doesn't do. And I think that could be
for the rest a lot,
Origin
which
game
people normally
DC
complain about Gutho doing.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, but people
respect he's a smart man.
Cherry Evans.
He knows every rule of the game as well. He knew that should have been a send-off, and he asked the question, what wasn't a send-off? Not many people would have known that.
I think
I would have gone Carrigan.
To quote, he said, "That's a send-off even at park footy."
Yeah.
So
it happens more in park footy.
Yeah.
It happens in park footy. They usually call the game off.
Do you want to start us off with your New South Wales player of the series?
Mitch Moses. I called it from the start too. Before all this started, I said that he'll be back in. He'll be instrumental in New South Wales wins, and unfortunately, he didn't get player of the series, which we can discuss because that was a bit funny. Yeah, it's Mitch Moses. He was phenomenal. though he was quiet at the start of the game, that was purely because of Queensland's defence and the way that they read his attack. They defended so well. But then eventually when that game broke out, he stepped up again. That left foot step, you could see as soon as they were lazy at marker, that big gap was there. I think that's when I did about 4 laps of the kitchen. Mitch Moses for mine.
Mika, who you got?
Yeah, for me it was Moses. And I know that's going to sound like I'm just talking in Parramatta eyes, but he was best on ground game 2 by a long shot. It was an absolute clinic. He scored the match-winning try tonight, which I think he played too well. We were talking in our group chat how he's been balling. I said eventually he's going to step up. Yeah, eventually he's going to go himself, and he did, and he went under the post. I think too, credit needs to go for him for his kicking game. We've been talking about how New South Wales had 22 tackles in the red zone. It's because they won that field position battle early in the game, and he kept putting those kicks on the 5-meter line. So, yeah, for me it was Moses. I find it very hard to believe that it's not against Crichton. He'd be my second vote. He was huge, but I think it's odd that a player can get man of the series when you didn't get man of a match. Like, he wasn't the best in any of the matches. How is he best in the series? That makes no sense to me. But I guess, Billy Slater got like man of the series and
do you rename it
to
as
one game
most consistent player of the series?
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know.
I can answer that question for you, Michael. If they did a 3-2-1 for every game and he didn't get player, he could have got the 1 in the first game. He could have got the 2 in the next game, the 2 in the next game, which could put him on 5 points.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah, but I don't agree with either way. You said that, did you? Sorry, I can't hear you. You're freezing up on you. I can't really see your face.
Bullshit.
So,
I said most consistent player. You heard me.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But like, if they did a
yeah.
3-2-1, which is if they did a 3-2-1 for player of the series, I mean, that's how good. Anyway,
hang on. Is that legit in the comments? He didn't play game 1, so he can't get the Wally Lewis. Is that a thing?
No, they're just saying that.
That's just what he's saying. That's why I said Billy Slater, because Billy Slater did that. He missed one of the games and still got it. So.
Oh, yeah. Silly me.
And everyone was shocked. Look, I thought Crichton had a good series, but I thought he did the role that most second rowers could have done and most second rowers could do. He played the football second row, should do. Like, he missed 9 tackles in the first game. He missed 4 tackles tonight and 4 tackles. And I guess the second rower's most important thing is to make their tackles. Like, did he get any try assists? Did he score a try? Like, I don't really know. Like, I don't think he did too much special. It was a strange one. The odds were quite high for Crichton to get it earlier in the day as well. Mitchell Moses at $5.50. Sorry, it was an absolute great bet. But anyway, I'm still sad, as you can't tell. I had that money spent. It was gone.
Oh, I agree with what Mitch is saying there. I agree with Crichton getting picked. I thought he was, for mine, the clear player of the series. He was sensational all 3 games. The first game, I thought he was the New South Wales best by a long, long way. I think a lot of people are forgetting that. He was a shining light. There was a player gone. He continually stepped up, rolled up the sleeves. And I know he had the HIA tonight, but he's played every other minute of all 3 games. Talk about like a missed tackle and that. I think there was 2 tonight I seen that he did where he actually, like, it was like a sort of ankle tap type thing where he takes the player out. Like, he doesn't wrap his arms around and make the tackle, but he slows the player down and gets him to the ground. So, and then someone else just comes over the top. So I just think he was sensational. I want to give him some credit. And I said this on Monday, so I did predict this to happen. So that's why maybe I'm a bit more lenient with it.
Does it make sense? Can you tell me one highlight? One highlight of his 3 games. Tell me one thing that stands out. One thing where he broke the line, or
his try in game 1 and 2. I'm pretty sure he got a try. So
Crichton,
if my memory serves me correct, I don't know. He got a grubber try. He's done a number of good hits. He was up in Queensland's faces non-stop. This is a guy where 6 months ago he wasn't even going to be playing the game anymore.
He hasn't scored a try.
Turn around.
He hasn't scored a try this series.
Yes, he did. He scored a grubber, I'm pretty sure. I don't know.
Oh, that was against Parramatta.
Like,
you're getting confused. He did that against Parramatta.
I can't remember. He has been for mine a standout. So I looked at the stats a bit
When
earlier.
you play
because I know-
Parramatta in your head because you're getting the games confused.
Well, I know what you're trying to say about Moses, but for mine, Crichton, and you're saying like what a edge forward needs to do, he was clearly the best forward on the field, not just edge forward. So I don't know what the argument is there because he literally was head and shoulders above every other edge forward in this Origin series.
Yeah,
without a doubt.
Yep,
But
absolutely.
Not
But
forward
it's-
of the match.
No, it's the most influential player of the series. Moses was hands down better than any person on the field in game 2, and he scored the match-winning try in game 3.
Dylan Edwards was also pretty influential on both
I
those
understand
games.
Crichton. Yep,
So was
Crichton was
Lomax.
phenomenal. Edwards was phenomenal. Lomax was phenomenal. When most people are going to look back on this series, they're going to remember that try under the post, and they're going to remember when people were saying, "Holy shit, that was the best game from a half since Joey." That's what they're going to remember.
Well,
That's
now they
fair
won't,
enough.
'cause
If
they'll be
they
like-
remember that. That's
Player of the series was.
Yeah.
Angus Crichton.
Yeah.
Well deserved,
one-
in my opinion.
No one will remember that. They'll
It's a
just remember that
3-game
we won.
series. He was absolutely sensational game 2, no doubt about it. I love Moses. I love what he did. As Jess said earlier, he was very quiet the first half of this game. Very, very quiet. So we're talking 6 halves of this series. Moses was probably good for 2 halves
They say he's
and
quiet.
about a 15-minute period. His
I
kicking
forget
game was good.
Lomax here. I'm gonna run through this. Lomax, 3 tries, 28 points, 164 meters tonight. Last game he ran for
And his goal.
117, and the game where they got touched up in the first game in his Origin debut, he ran for 224 meters. That's pretty good for a
And his
fucking winger.
goal kicking was
He's good.
phenomenal as well.
That's good.
So I'll say I
His,
think Lomax deserves
his
more
2
than 5 as
points
well.
going into half time, what could have been a game changer. Like that was a pressure kick and a half. That's Thurston when he bent it around the corner from the sideline in that Origin. Like that was unreal.
Yeah.
That's a
Huge
great
We've got to
question
go
by
Susie
Damien as
Curry.
well.
Yeah, I'm about to get to that now. Just quickly, what it does show this conversation is another thing that gives I want to give a lot of credit to Madge for is he chose a lot of players currently in form. Where I don't think Billy Slater did that with Queensland. He chose a number of players that weren't in form, and I think it showed. I know it was a close contest tonight, but I think in the big moments, in the moments that really mattered, those players that are in form at club level for the Blues really stood up and proved the difference. But Damien posed a good
know why
question. I
Billy
think
did
it's a
it?
good way to sort of. What was that?
You know why Billy did that?
Because he's a Queenslander.
Because they're
And
Queenslanders.
he has
Still
2
Queenslanders.
heads. No idea.
Well, to be
Um,
fair, we haven't heard his press conference after game 3. He might not be. He said we're still Queenslanders. He might not say that now. We're just.
I'm
assuming
hoping to
he's
get
still
off this in a
Queensland.
minute so I can go and watch those. You keep rambling tonight. You just need a couple more rums.
Look-
You're turned into, you know what? You're Mika Warner tonight. You're Mika
You
Warner.
told me when I first come on board. You said I want the podcast to be more relaxed, and I was
Yeah,
like,
do.
I can help you with that. Now you
You've been
can't.
good.
Some birds aren't meant to be caged, man. You can't just turn it off. It's not a switch.
New contract. You got to drink every episode you do. Damien,
Yeah.
we're getting to your question now. It's been up now for about 3 minutes. Wish I could keep it up for that long, but anyway. Moses, Luai, Cleary. After this series,
Ponga knows
I'll
the
say
trick.
one thing. I'll say one thing about Luai. I thought he was sensational as well. If there's an outsider for player of the series, I actually think Luai's it. If they called his name out tonight, I would not have been surprised at all. I would have gone, you know what? Fair enough. He's been very, very good.
You know
It's
why?
going to be so. Like Cleary comes back and fires next year. What happens? Moses has to be in the team. Luai has to be in the team. It feels like. What happens?
You know why
Cleary
Luai
has
was
to
so
be in
good?
the team.
Who's 14?
You know why Luai was so good? Because he actually had a half that played as a half, and Luai got to play his natural game as just running the ball and being a 5'8". He didn't have to get in there. He had a couple of kicks, didn't have to get in there and do any of the kicking like he did in game 1. So that's obviously a more example of Mitchell having a great series and should have been player of the series. But Cleary actually playing his natural role as a 5'8", because he'd never be a half. He's a 5'8".
Luai. Cleary.
Yeah, Luai.
Mika?
Someone else can, answer that question first.
Can we say Luai has finally matured this year?
Doesn't seem
Yeah, I
like
think
much
he
of a
has.
smug prick, does
We
he?
haven't hit finals
No.
yet. We haven't hit finals yet.
No, I just even
There's the curse.
Kaylin said to me tonight, she's like, geez, I hate Luai, but geez, he's been better this year. Like, I think he has. I think he's finally matured. I don't know. He's playing
know
he's
why?
playing good footy.
Because he's going
Why?
to the Tigers.
Because he realizes the
Same thing
next
happened
5 or
with
6
Aki
years of his life
Coruscant.
is going to fucking suck. Anything he gives out this year, he's going to cop 10 times as much for the next 5 years.
I don't know. Credit
Same
where
thing with
where
Aki
it's due.
Coruscant.
Yeah, credit where it's due. I think he had a really, really good Origin series. You're right. He played his natural game really well. And his mouth, like he had his run and battle with DCE, which was good, but he didn't go over the top with it. You know, he let his footy do the talking instead of his mouth for once, and it was really good. So to answer Damien's
think-
question,
Who's your 6 and 7?
Would you say
Hang
that
on,
Luai?
Yeah.
Would you say that Luai, say we lost this game, we lost the series, would you still have those same comments about Luai and him not stepping over the line with his chirp?
yeah, I would, because he didn't like. There's no headlines of him. Like him and DCE went toe to toe, and they were equal. Like Luai at Origin in the past is sort of like, you know, there's the image where he's standing over the guy with the, and there's a few other, like the posts about going to work. Like he's done none of that. So I think it was controlled. It's what you want from a player like that, I guess. You want a bit of lip, but you don't want it to be over the top. So to answer Damien's question, yeah, it's going to be hard to bring Cleary back in because I still think Moses did more than Cleary's done at Origin level. And I think it opened up Luai a bit more. However, I've said for years, I would love to see both Moses and Cleary in that game together.
But here's the
So
thing.
I don't know.
If Cleary comes in and plays 7, Moses goes to 6, which means
Yeah.
Cleary controls the team. I think
Yeah.
after Mitch controlling the team and essentially winning the series as playing as that dominant half, I think they struggle to find the balance. I think you could have a Sam Walker, Luke Keary issue, as we've touched on
Yeah.
before. Like, obviously, you know, when Sam first come in and took control of the team, there was no like Luke Keary there. And then when they're there together, it doesn't work. And it could be a real balance issue. I think they found the balance tonight. Anything could
It was
happen
really
before
obvious.
next year. But
Yeah, and I think it was really obvious tonight too. Like Mitch did most of the kicking, if not, 95% of it. Like he really did control
kicked
that
for
team a lot more than
he kicked
Cleary.
for 550 meters.
Yeah, which is huge. So yeah, I'll shut up before I
Jez.
get in trouble again.
Your 6 and 7. It's very, very early for next year. Out of those three, what
Very
are you
early.
what are you going for?
I'm staying with the same. If they're still playing the way that they are at club level, I'm having Luai and Moses in the team because they just complemented each other and they allowed each other to play their natural game. I dare say Mitchell Moses is. I've actually been saying this for quite some time, and it's really annoying being a Newcastle fan. He is the most natural halfback in the game.
Finally.
Really?
It's taken a long time.
After working with Andrew Johns at Parramatta, yes.
Yeah, I'll agree. His game changed massively after John's work with him, but you still put him above DCE and Cleary in regular NRL game management.
That's really
Well,
hard because they're
I
playing
would-
in teams that are nowhere near each other. So Mitchell Moses, in comparison, is still the best player on that Parramatta team, where there's games where everyone else in Penrith and Manly step up when they need to, where Mitchell is head and shoulders above everyone in that Parramatta side.
In the
Not
5
hard at
games
the
he's
moment.
played for Parramatta this year. Yeah.
I get your
But
point.
to answer the question,
Mitch-
I'm staying the same.
I think Mitch hits the nail on the head a bit where he says, in terms of the speed of the game, Cleary really relies on, I feel like, a certain speed to really get the best out of his game, where I feel like Moses is very, very good on the run and just spur of the moment decisions. If he sees something happening, he'll just quickly wrap around the short side and stuff. And that's a true sort of playmaker. That's Joey-esque, and not going to call him Joey, don't shoot me down, guys. But I'm just saying that's the sort of style of play that he's got in his game, which we haven't seen for a very, very long time. And let's not kid ourselves. There's been a lot of criticism out there about Nathan Cleary at this level. Like, I know he's done great things, and we go back to that grand final moment last year, and we've all said, had our say on that and said how good it was. But at this level, he hasn't owned the games like we've seen Moses do so far. So at the moment, yeah, I'm with Jez. I'm going the 6 and 7 that we've had this year that's won the series. You just simply have to do it. There's no reason to change it. And what it does mean is Cleary then gets pushed galore next year to make sure, first of all, his body's right. So if that means a bit less time with old Mezza, he might have to choose to focus on some footy a bit more. But see what happens, because at the moment, Moses is just, I know now with the injury that puts him back a little bit, but I tell you what, he's in some form.
I think that's a reflection of the Penrith style of football transferring to Origin. Like, Freddie was big on it. He picked big Penrith numbers across the park. They're very get to points, do certain things. And in Origin, it's just different. It's not about set field plays and triggers and whatnot. Like, you got to be able to play what you see. And, yeah, you're right. Cleary, someone said in the comments, like, Cleary you can't play what he sees and wrap around a ruck and do whatever. Like, Cleary's a phenomenal player at shit when the dominoes have already fallen into place. He'll knock the rest of them down. But, yeah, interesting. It's going to be an interesting 6 months of footy early next year leading to Origin, because can Luai keep his position playing at the Tigers? Like, that's – like, if the Tigers are coming last again, like, I don't know. Be interesting. Or if Parramatta are still coming last.
Parramatta coming last.
I don't know. I just said that. I was like, Parramatta will be fucking coming last too. But yeah, I don't know.
Final
Can we
one. I
just
just
watch a
want
quick
to
video?
share.
Just come up quickly. This is a nice moment where Joseph Swallow, he comes and talks to Reece Walsh's kid and said, "Remember when I almost killed your dad?" So imagine what's being said there. Great moment.
Oh,
though.
goodness
Great moment.
me. It's
Someone
time
needs
to go.
someone needs to get the that NRL voiceover thing. Remember when I killed you? Fuck off to rugby. Yeah, she waves.
Time to get out of here. One final bit of praise I want to give out there is to Payne Haas, who I thought was huge tonight. In the preview show on Monday, we all mentioned it. We said that this was his game to sort of really stand up this level. I think there was question marks similar to what we spoke about just then with Cleary, and I just thought he took the pack on. He just stood up. There were sets where he was taking 2 runs in the set, and I think the very first run he took, he got smashed, but then he took one like 2 tackles later and almost made a clean line break. Like, I thought he was absolutely sensational tonight, and finally, for mine, established himself as probably the best prop in the game. He was that good tonight. So, well done.
It helps when you're playing at home, doesn't it?
Yeah, he's getting booed, but he's at home. It's weird.
Him and Spencer Leniu they're Origin players, man. They were just so fun when they have the ball and they tuck it under their arm. They are bending the line back, and you called it at the start of the series. It's just what Queensland didn't have. So there's some really good questions around those selections, and they were huge.
Junior Paulo, please go back and watch that game and watch Payne Haas and Spencer Leniu, and remember how to
brothers do the same. That's how you do it.
Remember how to be a wrecking ball.
Does it hurt you, Jeremy, that Payne Haas is from very close to Newcastle in Woodbury, playing for the Broncos? Another one that slipped through the fingers.
Just another one that got away. Just another one that the Knights didn't want.
To be fair, if he stayed in Woodbury, he probably would have got shivs. So I understand why he went to Brisbane.
All right.
It's a rough part of the state, man.
Well, I've got a 4 o'clock wake up. I'm out of here. I've got to wrap things up and go. But let's enjoy the moments that this has been. This series has been fantastic. So at the start of it, loved it. Stressful after game 1. I think Phil was said the series was already over, but looking back on it now, it's probably the best thing that happened. And we actually had some very good signs in game 1, being 1 player down. Game 2, how good, and game 3, just one of the best State of Origin games we've ever seen. So let's enjoy it, New South Wales fans. We've raised the shield on enemy territory, and it's a great feeling. Let's go back. Let's go lay in bed with a smile on our faces. Listen to Billy Slater say he's Queenslander, and that's it, boys.
How do you feel? Isn't that New South Wales song as their team
Tooheys.
song after Origin in Melbourne? They sung the Tooheys new song. I feel like a Tooheys. Isn't it a
Nah, mate.
Victorian beer?
I'm 40 years old now. I got to drink low carb beer, like better beer. It's beer that's better.
Up the Blues.
Jez, you got something?
Yeah, what a cracking series. It's what we deserved as rugby league fans. That's what's going to get bums on seats. Fuck the Melbourne game off. They don't deserve it. Up the Blues.
Apart from the fact that it helped us smash the Maroons, so we might keep it whenever we get to win. But well done, Up the Blues. Thank you all for tuning in. You all love the Origin shows, so we really do appreciate you all tuning in as well after these shows. It's a late night, we know, but we do appreciate you all coming on and listening and watching, and then obviously belatedly as well, anyone who does watch afterwards and listen to the podcast. So Adam's off, drifting off. So good night. Thank you, and Up the
We are
Blues.
Queenslanders.